Hey guys, welcome to Christian Encouragement. I'm Avery, and I'm here with Elijah.
Yes. Hi. Yeah.
Dude, so how old were you when you came into the faith?
It would have been junior year, I think July of my junior year. Yeah, so it was at a Christ in Youth conference. And I had gone once before, I had gone the year before. So I was excited because I knew what I was going into. I know I didn't take it seriously the year before. We just went around.
So you've done that like before?
Yeah, I just didn't take it seriously. We did stuff like, throwing out pickup lines, just sort of like, we were having fun, but we weren't taking the retreat, the conference as seriously as it really was. So coming into this year, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna, it's gonna be so much fun. And it was a lot of fun, but it was also life-changing for me. I think it was the second to last night or the last night of the conference. And there were like 3 conferences every day and some week long. So we'd already gone through a lot as a group. And as the last night, we were talking about caves that we retreat into as Christians, as people. Yeah, so like a cave would be for like people going through addiction would be like if they're, if they get angry, they might drink. A man later explained it to me in a much better way. I think cobwebs, right? There's a spider, but you can't go around clearing up cobwebs if you don't take care of the spider, right? So there are these caves that we're retreating back into, and we're trying to discover, what's at the center of what you're struggling with.
Yeah.
Like if for me it was anger. Because anger is a symptom of what you're really going through. Right. That's how I expressed sorrow, was through anger. We're talking, it was the last night, and the dude gets up and it's towards the end of his sermon, the climax, and he starts naming off all of these caves, and he's like, if you fall into this category, stand up. And in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to stand up, right? Because I just didn't take it seriously. So he starts naming off all this stuff, like sadness, gluttony, stuff like that, caves that we'll run into. And people start standing up, and I kind of look around, and I'm like, oh man, these guys are like just standing up, And he says anger, and I knew, I was struggling with anger, but I didn't want to stand up because I didn't want people to look at me differently than anybody else and just a big goofball, right? So I remember he says anger, and I don't want to stand up, and I remember he pauses and he says it again. He's like anger, and I don't remember why, but I was just standing, right? Like it wasn't a moment of courage for me. It was just like I was standing. And I remember instantly just like thoughts started going through my mind. Like now they know, I struggle with this. Now that my fake shell has been broken, like just exposure. No one likes to be exposed.
Right.
All of these thoughts going through my mind. All my friends, you wanna appear, like you're doing good. But I wasn't. So just like all these thoughts, all these attacks coming into my mind. I remember, just standing there, kind of wanting to crawl into a shell, because like I stood up and I felt like I wasn't the only one in the building standing, but I felt like I was the only one. And so I'm standing there, and all these thoughts are going through my head. And he's like, "All right, everyone, sit back down and eat." And I don't even remember the rest of the dude's sermon, but the whole time I was just like sitting there thinking, how am I going to get out of this place without, being like brought off to the side or anything like that?
So let me just ask you a question like that. So he was giving a sermon. All of these things that he was saying was touching you, but yet at the same time you weren't wanting or because of the shame of what people might think of you, you didn't want to address you didn't want to address them, so you were just wanting to get away.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what happened after that?
So, like I said, I didn't remember the rest of the guy's sermon. I was just sort of thinking to myself, there are thousands of people in this room. Once they all let out,
Right.
I can sort of get away with the crowd, go back to my room. So once we release, everyone, they're going to go out, they're going to hang out. I was like, no, I'm going to go back to my dorm. So I'm like walking, with the mindset of don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone. Because I was just exposed in that moment.
That's how you felt?
Yeah,
You felt
that's how
like
I
you were
felt.
exposed?
Yeah, and I was, up until this point, I was just a huge poser. And so I'm like walking out, and I remember my youth pastor comes up, and he not aggressively, but when your friend grabs you on the shoulder, he grabs me on the shoulder, and he's like, hey man, I have to run to Target, and I have to grab something, but I'll be back, and I'll reach at your door, and I'll talk to you. And more thoughts go through my head, oh my gosh, this is the one thing I didn't want to happen, now it's happening. Everything, all of my false walls were just crumbling.
Right.
Everything that I built up to protect what I was really going through was just falling apart. And so the enemy was just attacking me, just thoughts going through my head, what am I going to do now? So I know my youth pastor wants to talk to me, so I go back to my dorm, and on the way back, it's a pretty long distance from where we were at to the dorm, so I'm walking back, and I'm walking, I hear this voice say, stop. And this was probably the first time that I had heard God's voice, or wanted to hear God's voice at all, really. I'm sure he tried to talk to me, but I was just, so I just stopped, and I just collapsed on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, and I wasn't praying, I wasn't thinking, I was just what I was doing was I was resting. I was exhausted from all the thoughts going through my mind.
Right.
So I just stopped, and I was there for probably about 15 minutes. And during that time, one of my friends came up, and he was trying to get me to, hey man, are you okay? And I didn't say anything. And then another friend came to me, it's okay, he's praying. So they went on, and about 5 minutes after that, I got up and I walked in the dorm. I walk in the dorm, walk up to my dorm room, and I close the door. My roommate's in there, and I just tell him, hey, if Jeff, that's our youth pastor at the time, if Jeff comes, just tell him I'm not here, because I don't want to talk to him. And he's like, yeah, okay, man. And I was so just shell-shocked by what had happened that I wasn't thinking clearly. So honestly, not the worst. I'll tell you about the worst hiding spot to hide from your youth pastor. The second worst hiding spot to hide from your youth pastor is in a room where he knows you're staying and has a key to it. So that's the second worst place. The first worst place, I would say, is right next to the front door.
Right next to the front door.
So I'm in my dorm room, and I'm thinking, you know what, this isn't going to work. So I go down, and actually there's this big hallway, and there's the front door, and I'm off to the side in the hallway. Just thinking to myself, what am I going to do, what am I doing? Then he pulls up, and he gets out of the car, and I'm oh shoot, what am I doing? So actually I go back up to the dorm room. And of course, he comes and he knocks on the door, and my roommate at the time totally throws me under the bus and tells me that I'm there. So we go out to the hallway, and we just have a discussion. It was the first time I just stopped and told someone what I was really going through.
And this was your pastor?
This was my new pastor, yeah. He was there for me. It wasn't condemnation, it was understanding of God.
Right.
And I just broke down tears, just brokenness.
So you told him all about the anger, the shame.
Told him all about the anger, the shame, the depression. Yeah.
So I want to go back on that that anger. So I see anger. I'll use it I'll explain it this way, an iceberg, right? So you got the tip of the iceberg, but underneath that water, there's that other part of the iceberg. So you got that anger on top, and underneath the water, you got all kinds of things that that are underneath there, things that bring that anger up.
Yeah.
to the surface.
Yeah, the anger was a symptom of
It was a symptom of what, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, was it freeing when you finally told your youth pastor about it?
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
So throughout my high school, from like probably 8th grade up until this time,
Right.
I was going through a lot of depression and sadness and brokenness, and I was just sort of bottling it up.
Yeah.
You know, like when you shake up a bottle
Yeah.
and then you like pop the lid off,
Right.
it's just like pressure is released.
Yeah.
When I was given the opportunity to do that, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just huge weights lifted off of my shoulders.
Man.
Yeah, that I didn't have to carry in the first place, but
But you didn't have to carry, yeah. But
Yeah.
you didn't know where what else to do with it before
Yeah.
then.
yeah.
So that's cool. So tell me about your life now, man. Like since that day of the after that day of you know being able to talk about it and having God lift that burden off of you. And how's your life been?
It's been awesome.
It's been awesome.
So since that moment, just like growth. Since that moment of like just getting that weight off my shoulders,
Yeah.
it's just been like for me, it's like I am not content with my relationship with God. Like obviously, it could be so much better and it will be better.
But that's a good thing. Like feeling like you're not content with your relationship with God,
Yeah.
which motivates you to push more
Yeah.
and to continue to seek Him,
Yeah.
right?
But at the same time, I'm also so glad that I'm
Yes.
at where I'm at.
Yeah,
Like, I have been to a few different retreats since then,
right.
and each of them have just been like, boom, like powerful. And
Yeah.
two in particular have been in the last couple of years, where I ran some target retreat, and the like core lesson in that is restoring who you were made to be.
Right.
And my communication with God has grown from that moment when I was walking and He said stop, to now He's telling me, and bugs the heck out of me because I went there yesterday. He's saying go and they will follow.
Right.
So yeah, I never thought about that because He started off with stop,
Right.
and now He's saying go. I never thought about that. I think that's cool. Yeah, so just growth. Like every day, I like to stop and think, what am I doing today to make my relationship with God better for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Some days I don't do anything. Some days I do a lot, and some days are just like, regular. But yeah, just like, if you're not growing, like, something might be wrong.
Right.
So, yeah.
You have a verse that really speaks to you.
Yeah.
You mind sharing that verse with our audience?
Yes. No, I'm joking. It's 1 Timothy 4, verse 12. Timothy is a young Christian, young believer, being mentored by Paul. And Paul,
The Apostle Paul.
Yeah, the Apostle Paul. I think he's in prison at the time, I'm not sure. But he's not with Timothy. So he's writing him these letters just to encourage him and tell him what he needs to say, what he needs to do. And as he's going through all of this, have you ever been in a situation as a young person when an older person came along and the reason for them not listening to you, the reason they gave you was because you were younger? What he says is, don't let anyone look down on you because of your age. Don't let anyone look down on you because you're young. But set an example in speech and in conduct and in love.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the verse that God gave me, and the verse that has been sort of like a cornerstone for me.
Amen. Amen. I love that. Okay, so there is an obvious change. I mean, there's a difference from just knowing God and I guess knowing God, like
Yeah.
like for someone who doesn't believe, they know that there is a God, but doesn't know the one true God. So
Yeah.
that made a difference for you from just knowing God and really knowing God.
Yeah, so the difference between a knowledge-based faith
Right.
and a real faith.
Yeah.
It's actually something that my pastor preached about a couple weeks ago. So growing up in the church,
Yes.
born and raised Christian household,
Right.
baptized in my bathtub at a very young age, way before my faith became real. It was, huge difference. So something that I can tell you and I can tell anyone is the faith of your parents will save you. You have to have your own relationship with God.
Amen.
So growing up in the church, I was a good kid. Growing up hearing these stories about God, it was awesome. It was cool. It was a good lifestyle.
Great stories.
And great stories.
Yeah.
All of which I can now say are real.
Amen. Amen.
But at the time, it was just like, you show up to Sunday school class, Here's a good example. So for me, going to church was, if I had the wrong pair of pants on, that would be a problem. I remember I had these pants that had like this weird thing. I hated wearing them anyway.
Yeah.
And we forgot to wash clothes or something the night before, so my mom walks in, and this is when my mother was still dressing me. She's like, here's your clothes, put these on, and look at these pants. And I'm like, I can't go to church in these pants. Like, it was all about appearance.
Right.
Now it's like, I get up in the morning and I'm excited to go to church. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what I'm wearing, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm glad to be there.
Yeah.
So the difference for me is, showing up at church, to see your friends, to look cool, to showing up to church, to gather with other believers and worship God. That would be the biggest difference as far as being raised in the church is. So I can encourage you all by saying, one, it wasn't easy. I'll tell you right off the bat, it wasn't easy to confess what was going through my mind in my life. But it was freeing. Something that I went to another conference another time, and the speaker was talking about chains. And he told us a story, a metaphor, about this man who lived his whole life in darkness. Like, if you imagine a man literally like in a room where you can't see, and he was weighed down by chains. He was in chains, literally, well, figuratively, because it's not a real story. But he's weighing down by these chains, and then someone comes into the room, and they open the door, and the light comes in, and then he realizes that he has all these chains on him. He has all this weight, and he lived with that weight. That was who he was, right? He didn't know that it wasn't, who he was supposed to be. But when the light came in, he was revealed that he was in chains, and the man came into the room. He took the chains off of this guy, and he was set free. There was a drill that we used to do in football called a resistance drill, where you have this rope and you put it around your shoulders and you have another guy hold you back as you run. And the whole idea is you get used to having someone hold you back. You get used to having something hold you back. When you take it off, you just fly, right? You're gone. Like, nothing's holding you back. You can move at your full moment, full potential. So my encouragement for you, it's not going to be easy, but tell someone what you're going through. If you want,
Not just anyone though, right?
not just anyone.
Yeah.
Someone who is willing to love you, someone who loves you, someone who isn't going to put more shame on you.
Right.
If you want, my phone number is in the last video. You can call me. And if you don't want to talk to me directly, you can. I know a lot of people who helped me move forward that I can connect you with.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Elijah, for doing this.
You're welcome.
It's awesome to hear your story, where you came from, and where you're at now,
Yeah.
and how God still continues to move in your life.
Yeah.
And that is such a blessing to see, bro. And,
Yeah.
you inspire me, dude. Yeah, that's cool. I love that. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you guys for watching. Please like our page and feel free to share it. If you know somebody who is struggling, share this with them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you want to tell your story, let us know.
Oh yeah, if you want to do a testimony, sharing your story, please let us know. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. 1 Timothy 4:12.